Hi, my name is Stacey, and today I'd like to talk to you about a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, epilepsy. My daughter's in her senior year of high school, and for her speech class they had to choose a topic about something that meant something very special to them. My daughter chose to write about epilepsy and to speak about it in front of the class. Today I'd like to share with you the essay she wrote. A lot of times we go through things on a constant basis with epilepsy. We go through the challenges, the obstacles, the anger, the fear, the stress. There's so many things when it comes to epilepsy that we have to deal with on a daily basis. But sometimes we don't think about the caretakers and the people who love us around us, who are with us all the time, how it affects them. So today I'd like to share with you the essay my daughter wrote about living with a mom with epilepsy. It's called Epilepsy Through the Eyes of a Caretaker, a daughter's view of growing up with a mom with epilepsy. If you really knew me, you would know that my mom has epilepsy, and her having epilepsy has made me the person I am today. My mom got epilepsy when she was 5 years old. She got very sick from a virus that traveled to her brain, and she had to be put in a coma to stop the brain from swelling. This led to scar tissue damage on her brain and gave her epilepsy. The doctors at the hospital told my grandparents that she was supposed to have brain damage, not be able to walk, and that they even told her that when she came out of the coma, there was a good chance she would be paraplegic. My mom woke up with none of that, but she did have epilepsy. She was considered extremely lucky. Growing up with a mom who has epilepsy. Growing up with a mom with epilepsy was basically a normal childhood, with playing outside, with friends, fighting with my brothers, thinking second grade was hard, although I had to be more mature and understand what was happening to my mom at a young age. My older brother, Michael, and I had to take on the responsibility to be there for her. We had to know what to do when my mom had a seizure and how to help her afterward. My dad usually works later till in the evening, so if she was to have a seizure during the day, it was me or my two brothers home to help. Seeing a seizure for the first time. The first time I remember seeing my mom have a seizure was when I was 6 years old. My dad went into the store to pick something up, and my brothers and I were waiting in the car. I remember sitting in the car when Anthony starts to ask my mom a question, but she was not responding. We all looked at each other, confused. And then suddenly my mom began to have a seizure. My brothers and I are all 2 years apart, so we were all very young at the time. My little brother Anthony wasn't too scared because he had no understanding what was really going on. Watching my mother have seizures will never be something I got used to. It always and always will be a scary thing to see, simply because I can't do much to help in the minute or two she is having one. You're not supposed to touch or try to move the person when they are in this state, as it could harm them. The only thing you can do is make sure the person is safe from falling over or hurting themselves. Advocating for a cure. When my brothers and I got a little older, my mom wanted to get more involved with the Epilepsy Foundation. We started to go into yearly epilepsy walks to raise money for the cause. My whole family would come and support my mom, and it made the walks a lot of fun. Going to these walks and seeing all the people who are going through the same thing as my mom was really amazing to me. My mom has even joined the board on the Epilepsy Foundation, helping with fundraisers, bringing awareness to the cause, and setting up walks at Point Pleasant. Over this past weekend, she had received an award from the Epilepsy Foundation for her work with the organization. Epilepsy strengthens you, not weakens you. My mom having epilepsy made me into a very responsible person. I was always looking out for her and made sure she was feeling okay. I had to be there for her when she wasn't feeling good or hurt herself. My mom has broken bones and even had a hematoma in her brain from the seizures. Now my mom having epilepsy is something that drove her to become an incredibly strong person. Epilepsy brings obstacles, but there is always a way to make a new path for yourself. My mom used to work at NBC in New York until she had a seizure, and then they let her go because of it. She got her license taken away for many years from epilepsy, having to rely on others to go places or not go anywhere at all. My mom had to grow up with a disorder that can be triggered at any time or happen anywhere with no control over it. These are just some of the examples of the many challenges she faced. But throughout all her obstacles, she never gave up and just kept pushing forward. My mom didn't let her disorder hold her back or stop her from reaching her goals. After being let go from NBC, she started writing books and since then has written over 16 published books, which are even sold in stores. One of the first books she wrote included me and my brother in it. It was a book that started her writing journey. It was called My Mommy Has Epilepsy. She wrote this book to help parents out with its disorder, who gave younger kids an understanding about epilepsy and to learn a little bit more about the disorder. The part of the book that I'm in is the part where she tells a true story about an experience with having a seizure with us around. I was 2 years old and Michael was 4. The story goes, we were all taking a walk outside with the dog around our development when my mom falls over and has a seizure. At the time, my mom wasn't as controlled as she is now, so she did not have as much of a warning when she was going to go unconscious. Anyway, she falls over and ends up cracking her head on the concrete. And my dog Princess starts barking, and her barking brought someone's attention outside, which saved my mom's life. They called the ambulance and she ended up being okay. This part wasn't included in the book, but I figured to tell the whole story. Good things come with patience. Now, once her seizures got controlled, she got her license back. She went 15 years without having one. My mom showed me that you could always keep your head up and always be positive when life gets you down. It's the reason I have grown to be such a positive person myself. My mom has taught me that you can't dwell on the bad things in life. Only find a way to make them better. Feeling guilty. With my mom having epilepsy, there were many times I felt guilty. Guilty for not being there when she had a seizure, because there have been many times this has happened when no one was home. Not being able to be there for her, to make sure she was in a safe spot, and guilt for not being next to her when she woke up. Being alone after a seizure must be a very scary thing. Not knowing what happened or if the person is hurt, or not being able to remember the little details about your life for a short time. How someone feels after a seizure is scary too. One minute you feel fine, and the next your body is drained and you feel completely out of it. There was one time I came home from being at my friend's house. No one else was home but me and my mom. I walked into the kitchen and there was a glass all over the floor. I immediately knew what happened, so it wasn't something shocking. But I go upstairs to my mom's room first to make sure she didn't hurt herself badly. I asked her if she remembers anything, or if she hurt her head, or if she remembers where she woke up, to try to piece together how she fell over. My mom luckily wasn't hurt, besides some cuts. She easily could have been badly injured. Seeing the world from a different pair of eyes. Growing up with my mom having epilepsy has made me see other people differently. I am a very understanding person from this. My mom having this disorder has made me see that you really don't know what others are going through unless you get to know them. That everyone has different challenges they deal with in their everyday life. My mom taught me to always be nice to others, seeing her have her days when she was upset about her disorder. She has told me that it's been just random people who give her a compliment or say something nice to really change her day. My mom is the reason I chose to go into nursing in college and pursue a career in it. Growing up, taking care of her when she got hurt, helping her when I could, inspired me to go down this path. Made me realize that I want to continue to help people when I get older. I want to be that person who is there for others and helps them when they are sick. Being there for my mom my whole life made me become passionate about wanting to help people when I got older. My mom was able to help people just by writing books, making people feel not so alone, and know that there is someone out there who understands what they are going through. She even received letters from people, how she has changed their life. My mom inspired me to do that for others, make a difference in people's lives. My mom's life is the definition of the saying, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. She took her epilepsy and did great things with it. She never let it stop her from doing the things she wanted. She used her disorder to help people, to inspire people, to feel their best, and I always will admire her for that. She definitely is someone I would consider my hero, although her disorder gave her the path to be there for people and make a difference. When talking about my mom's epilepsy with her, she has told me it has its pros and cons. Throughout her whole life, she had many struggles and limitations on her life. Not just physical struggles, but also mental. Having to accept her disorder was very hard for her. Knowing that she was different from the other kids at school or different from her friends, wishing she was normal. Having seizures in front of people, random people, or people she knew was very uncomfortable and embarrassing, and it was something she couldn't control or stop from happening. She had to learn to overcome these feelings and accept them as a part of her life. Accepting that my mom has epilepsy. Having to accept my mom has epilepsy was hard. I would never wish my mom was different in any way. Just having to get used to seeing her have seizures was difficult. Also, the fear of not knowing when a seizure would occur made me anxious because you never know when someone with epilepsy is going to have one. So never knowing when my mom would have a seizure and just living with the fear of basically the unknown was what I would say was difficult. When I was younger, I used to close my ears and want to shut my eyes, but wouldn't. I knew I had to be there for her, and I had to make sure she wasn't going to get hurt. I had to put my own fears aside to be there for her. The older I got, the more I got used to this. But it still is scary to see because you never know what could happen truthfully. Falling the wrong way, depending on where you are, could leave her really hurt. If my mom didn't have epilepsy, I would be a different person. How my mom's epilepsy changed me. Her disorder made me a person who is compassionate, humble, grateful, appreciative, and sensitive towards others as well. I am so fortunate that I had such a healthy life. Think back on it now. I could not fathom living life as she did. She is so strong, and I am so lucky that she's my mom, and that I am lucky that my mom's epilepsy is not as severe. There are many people with epilepsy who have multiple seizures a day. People who have to go through that every day and constantly get hurt. My mom's epilepsy are now controlled. I am very appreciative of the doctors my mom who have helped her control the seizures and give her the ability to live her life every day and do the things if she were having multiple seizures she may not be able to do. As I became older, I became sensitive towards others, growing up and seeing people go through things much harder than what my mom has, and seeing all the people who have come to the walks and having similar stories has made me more empathetic towards others with the disorder. I am an extremely caring person, always wanting to be there for others and help them when I can. Because sometimes just one person can make a huge difference, which I have learned from my mom. I really appreciate life I have had because it has been so different. My mom's epilepsy made me more of a humble, down to earth person. Learned to be more appreciative about things and have in life and the life I am able to live. Ironically, growing up with my mom with epilepsy, I feel the reason I am more laid back. I say ironically because you would think I would be more nervous about a person from seeing my mom get hurt and have seizures often. But I've learned you can't worry about things in life you can't control. My mom is one of the most amazing people I know, and if I grow up without her having epilepsy, I may not be the person standing before you, the one you're listening to. My mom took my many obstacles standing in her way and did not let them defeat her. She only grew stronger as a person who went out to make a difference in the epilepsy community. The purpose of this article was to tell you about my mom's story, to show you how being determined and motivated can really set you on such a great path. The experiences that happen in our lives create our future. Every twist, turn, and detour has its purpose. How to not let bad things in life take over, and to know that things will get better. Because that is some of the things my mom has taught me. And I hope I can grow up to be as strong, as driven, and inspiring as she is today.